Namaste everyone. Gently close your eyes, keeping your head, neck, back erect wherever you're sitting. Trying to ground yourself well. Lift and push up your vertebral column tall nicely. And start focusing on just expansive breath. Inhale, expanding your thorax. Exhaling, you relax and let go that breath. Slowly, with this long, deep breaths, we inhale and chant 3 Omkars. Om. 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 Just listen to the shloka. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. As I've been mentioning that today's shloka is for me, and how I relate to the shloka, I want to share with you all. In the previous shlokas, we understood how we are caught up with the overthinking, the powerful dominance of thoughts that had created Sangha, attachment towards object, place, and things. Attachments leading to anger, anger leading to delusion, not proper understanding, improper decision making. And with that delusions, improper decisions, improper actions, how do we suffer? Suffer with vismriti. Scripture says, Nashto mohaha smritir labdva. Aspirants of higher cadre destroys their attachments to the world, to this body, And thereby they gain memory. What does this memory? What is this memory? Is it a way of escaping Alzheimer's? No. No. What do we forget? Of all the knowings, of all the teachings, after all the learnings, we still have memory loss. Memory loss of the teachings, memory loss of the subject. And it so happened with me. 22nd April, we had this incident in Kashmir, the most beautiful state of India, where you can see all the landscape of Himalayas, the great Himalayas, and hence a great spot for tourism. There were around 28 tourists in the Pahalgam district of Kashmir. Some were intending to spend honeymoon after their marriage. It lasted only 7 days. There came 4 terrorists with guns, killed them all. The way they killed the tourists, the innocent sufferers, was even more horrible. The reason, I don't know whether you are pretty much aware about the information, but still I want to reiterate the incident. The reason behind their killing was, number 1, what is your name? If your name is so and so, can you read the kalma, the Quranic verses? If you can read the Quranic verses, number 3, their pants were pulled down, they were checked for circumcision, clarified whether they belong to that particular religion. If they were, they were given life. And if they hadn't, one was a Christian. He said, I belong to Christianity. I don't know how to read kalma. He was shot dead, and so did all the other 28 men. What happened to the children and the women? The children and women were given life, were given mercy, not because of the reason that they were ladies and kids, but because these ladies and kids have to go and tell Modi, our Prime Minister. How did I know? Because a woman whose before eyes her husband was shot dead, and the woman shrieked, "You killed my husband, what will I do? Kill me too." And that was the reply. No, you have to stay. Go and tell Modi what happened here. Such sheer atrocities, nonsenses. Since then, I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep. I felt like I have to be an army man today. In fact, in the morning, while brushing the teeth, I was thinking of writing a mail to PM Narendra Modi. And I am 45-year-old, but still my body is strong and sound because of the yogic postures and practices. I can be of some help to you. Take me. Few hours ago, I opened Bhagawad Gita. What was the shloka that we have to deal today? Because there had been a short, brief holiday because of Easter. I didn't want to disturb you people. So the shloka reminded me the memory back. Yeah. All the problems of spiritual aspirants or even lazy woman like me, not necessarily spiritually inclined to. Everybody has the same problem, vismriti, loss of memory. Suddenly it all came back. And just as Hanuman in Valmiki Ramayana, Manas Samadhaya Mahanubhavaha, that state of samadhi, that state of, not samadhi, I should, that state of silence occupied the heart. And all the 3-4 days of wounded heart was healed. Valmiki Ramayana gives a clear note on Hanuman, the super great hero, of immensely equipped with powers, sometimes even miraculous powers, enormous physical strength, enormous mental strength. He is looking at his goddess in front of his eyes, suffering, tortured by the demonesses around, suffering by the words, the disheartening words of Ravana, again the demon ruler, the demon king. He did not brutally touch her, that's it. He was brutally raping her with all his words. But Hanuman, looking at his Devi, looking at his goddess there, suffering, didn't plunge into action. He was witnessing from that tree by the side. And Valmiki Ramayana, Rishi Valmiki is explaining that his mind was in the state of samadhi. Suddenly the memory, the memory of all the scriptural knowledge dawned upon me. And there is an injustice happening. An injustice which can be, in which we can be of great help. And through circumstances, through some things or the other, we are not able to. How are we going to respond to this injustice? Anger comes out, aggression comes out, the spirit of doing something comes out. It is all good. It is all in the case of dharma. This is how a human has to. Otherwise, human will wail only when there is some relative, some friend of his, some family member of his is being killed in that Pahalgam district. No, otherwise, you become selfish. I'm not negating the fact that you should not wail, you should not lament. Your heart should not lament for anyone else. I'm not saying that. But what happens along with that heart lamenting is that your inner core is disturbed. Hanuman, Rishi Valmiki is very precisely understanding the state of Hanuman, saying that he, the Mahanubhava, the greatest of the greatest, in the Zenji language, it is greatest of all time, the goat, the greatest of all time. After having listening to all the injustice happening to his lordess, to his master, lady master, he is in the state of samadha. He is in the state of tranquility. And hence, he is the greatest of all time. What happens later? He burns Lanka down. Literally, in the literal sense, he burns the entire city down. But from which state? The state of samadhi, where the tranquility happens. He is not touched or influenced by the event and not loses his center, not loses his alignment. It is very difficult for every sadhaka to hold this position. But at least we can absorb. Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, it is like sitting in the threshold of the house, the door entryway. While sitting in the threshold of the house, you are able to take care of the inside and the outside. Thakur says it is like that. You sit in the threshold so that you see there is nothing disturbing happening inside, nothing disturbing happening outside. But you are watching well. You are protecting both the sides well. Swami Vivekananda writes to his disciple about his state, saying that, sister, I have drunk that divine potion, and now there is no connection between me and my world, me and man, me and God. He is seeing unification in everything. So Hanuman, Swamiji, Thakur, everybody had been like that. Why can't Lalita absorb from them? So that lesson actually dawned upon me today. So I thought I should share this with you. What is the shloka? We'll come to the shloka. 2.64. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu. Vishayanindriyaischaran. Vishayanindriyaischaran. Atmavasyairvidheyatma. Atmavasyairvidheyatma. Prasadamadigaccati. Prasadamadigaccati. In the previous shlokas, we understood how layman goes into that vicious cycle of distress by entering into the maze of conflict with his own pattern of getting surrendered unto his winding thoughts, that which binds, that which is overpowering, that which cannot be stopped, that which is repetitive in nature. On the other hand, he is giving the word tu, raga, dvesha, viyuktaistu. That small syllable tu in Sanskrit means on the other hand. So now Krishna is talking about the greatest yogi, the greatest saint, the jnani, the enlightened. How is he behaving? Is he slitting the throat and then going away because he doesn't want to live in this world? No, he lives in this world. He very much gets contact with all the vishayas, all the subjects which are perhaps blossoming, pleasant, perhaps injustice, unpleasant. He also deals with the same. But how does he deals with the same? Raga dvesha viyuktaha. He goes out of the parenthesis. Oh, he goes out of the bracket of attraction and aversion. As human intellect prones the man to We are always attracted towards something which is good, something nice, something lovely. You can take it uh, uh, to the example of something sweet. It is always pleasant to eat something which is right. And we are attracted to all those things. Slowly we do understand that object to the person we are attracted to is not eventually giving the happiness, is not eventually giving the pleasant state in your mind, but just being with that object, being close to that person is triggering this or stimulating the happiness within. Slowly we understand that. But on the other hand, when some things are completely opposite from that to-do list, from that priority list of being lovely, being sweet, being right, being nice, being legible, being matured, you get into contact with situations, people, or things which are completely opposite to it. How do we interact? When this contact with such things, with bad things, or what we label as bad, creates aversion in it, aversion in our heart. Like, for example, we find fault in other persons. No? It's very easy. Because we think we are so logical, we are so right. There is this green column. I was mentioning about Lucha when we had a talk with Lucha, that I used to give her an example, right hand and the left hand. The green column, the red column. So when things are put into that red column, unknowingly or knowingly, we tend to create that aversion. Why is this happening? Why did this happen to me? I started moving inward and then got the answer. It is just the intervention of ego, intervention of senses. Ego is not being proud. Ego is that identity in you which is creating the trouble. It is definitely, the Pahalgam incident was definitely an atrocious act. We have to raise voices, we have to, but to the fact that I have lost my sleep, which means there is definite egoistic intervention, where I sort of got connected to the class of people, to the category they belonged to. I sort of got connected to the nationality they belonged to. That egoistic intervention created so much of aggression, aversion in the heart, which had made my, what do you call, the pendulum, the pin, the needle, go off the axis. It so happens with everyone, attraction and aversion. But a yogi takes his ego off and goes away from the bracket of attraction and aversion. Why? Because he definitely knows that this is not his body. I went to Pune and visited, oh, today Neha is not here. I went to Pune and I visited some spiritual places there. You know me. Samartha Ramadas, a great saint again, who was the mastermind behind Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the greatest of all kings of Maharashtra, again another state who fought against the Mughal emperors who were again capturing the states of India. Our history was also dark. First Mughals, then Britishers. It had been a dark history. So this king was really fierce enough, like Hanuman he was, and the mastermind behind master strength behind Shivaji Maharaj was the saintly Swami Ramdas, where we went to the place where he got samadhi and where he wrote his scripture Dasabodha. It was unbelievably radiational spiritual experience, radiative spiritual experience. Got to know about some stories of him, where once his disciple and a few community of the village was being slaughtered by the Islam king who got into the rule, and people went, the friends and families, the relatives of the people who were killed went to Samartha Swami and pleaded for some mercy because there was no food, there was no proper finance. So he got them all into the ashrama and then quickly gone to this Islamic ruler. He was 7 foot tall. That's what the localites say. That's why I'm saying he's none like Hanuman. The 7 foot tall, very strong. Went to the capital, grabbed the king to the roads, fought with all the army men, fought with all the soldiers, and gave good bash on the road. How could you treat your people like this on the basis of religion? No? This is not that enthralling. The next thing that what he did was very much interesting, and started to put medicinal herbs on the wounds caused by his thrashing. There is no attraction, there is no aversion. Raga, Dvesha, Viyukta. He fought for his people, he fought for the land, he fought against the injustice. But again, saw the same divine, as Swamiji says, the same divine portion, same divine in that person, and tend to care. Raga, Dvesha, Viyuktaistu. Does this happen by living in caves, Himalayan caves, or in just temples, doing sadhanas, doing meditations, just listening to the ringing of the bells sometimes? Does this happen? Krishna says, Vishayan Indriyaihi Charan, Vishayan Charan. They perfectly live in this very world. Such saints can be even a married person, have kids, have duties, obligations to take care of kids and wife, have duties and obligations in the profession. Still, even when their senses are along with the sensory objects working very much in this worldly affair, is getting out of this raga and dvesha, getting out of this attraction and aversion. How does he do it? My way of thinking was reducing egoistic intervention. That might be one solution. But Krishna specifically says, Atmavashyehi vidheyatma. He does not function from his body level. He does not function from his intelligence. He does not function from his emotional layer. Where does he function from? He abides by the self, not let go of himself from that space. So when you abide by the self, what happens? There is no category, there is no community, there is no diversity, there is no two. When does the problem arise? When you're all alone in this world. Imagine there is none. You're just one. Will you have problem? No. When there is two, there's a problem. Why? Because one's mental frequency, one's way of thinking, one's pattern, one's habits, one's priorities, one's preferences will not match with the other. That's how individualistically independent we are. That's how beautiful this creation is. So for them, the differences lies in body lies very much superficially. It can't be true. For them, diversity, differences lies in the superficial manner, hence cannot be true. When you abide by the self, stay aligned with that steadfastness of quietude, steadfastness of silence, and from there you start to function. You can definitely be a part of the Indian Army too, perhaps. Not by the aggression. Perhaps my life can also end with a purpose. Everybody wants the same. The life has to end with some purpose. Not because some XYZ of this coming generation will talk about our name or no. That is the very purpose of this life, right? But that will happen only when you start to function from this level, Atmavashyehi. Vidheyatma. Krishna says, he is an enlightened soul. He is enlightened. He is discharging his duties. He is giving all importance to his family. He is providing all the things. I'm really missing Neha. Because Neha was the one who was asking questions. How is that even possible? Staying in the world, being away from the world. So the key is here. Abide by the self. Function from the self. Otherwise, you'll be led by what you are thinking yourself to be, which is ego. You can easily stir up things when you talk something against about a person's individuality. Okay, talk to a poet, criticize him about uh, Eliot and Shakespeare. Oh, they are novelist. Huh? I didn't get the name. Any poet for that matter. They sort of get things into their heart. They think that they are being offended. Why? Even though I have written only 4-5 poems and not even yet published, but I myself take myself to be a poet. I regard myself as poet. So anything concerns the poet community, I get alarmed. I start to fight back. Same with womanhood, same with nationality, same with community. It is not good when I want to say this statement, I have to make this very clear. It is not good to understand that being patriotic is having more of attachments. Sorry, I'm not coming to say this. What happens when patriotism dominates your existence? What happens when you are a womanhood freak? What is that word? woke person. Huh? What happens when you are a social activist? What happens when social activism sorts of owns your personality? Right things seem to be wrong just because of this domination. Hence, Patanjali Maharishi also says, Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. First, find out, are you your master? If not, find out which all ingredients of mind are mastering you, which all ingredients are ensaving you. Sometimes it can be motherhood. Huh? It can be just motherhood. Mother is such a beautiful thing, such a blessed phenomenon. But what happens when it dominates you? We discussed how in Manish's satsang once, how one emotion gets dominated, and too much of domination of that emotion, too much of domination of that phenomenon in your body, how it turns out into a disorder. Like, for example, motherhood, it turns out into breast cancer. Interesting. Only when there is that which is related to a body, we show some interest. That's even more pathos. So, domination of which aspect? Find out, introspect, and try doing what? Manasamadhaya Mahanubhavaha. Try taking the footsteps of Mahanubhavas, great saints. We can't be them, we can absorb them. We can absorb them, we can digest them, at least. Why? Because if we start to digest, if we start to absorb, Vismriti will not be, we will not forget. We will not get carried away by the emotions. We will not carry, although they are divine, although they are righteous, we will not get carried away. We have to work there, we will work there, but functioning from the self, not getting functioned by the raga, the attractions and the aversions created by the situation. Atmavashyehi videyatma. An enlightened soul abides by the self, hence he goes out of the parenthesis of attraction and aversion. Being in the world, working with the same kind of people, all sorts of people, he remains same. What happens? Prasadam adhigacchati. Prasad. Prasad means, in local language, if you go to a temple, you get some ladus, you get some sweets, you get some flowers, you get some incense sticks for the offering to the Lord. And then the pandit there, the temple take carer there, gives a bit of, shows it to the deity and take it as an offering, and then gives the same thing back so that you can wear the flowers, you can have the sweets. That is prasad. Spiritual offering and the resultant, the outcome of the offering is called prasada. Krishna also means the same. Adi Shankara also means the same. Krishna, Adi Shankaracharya, mentions prasada means tranquility. So when will this tranquility happen? When will I get rid of this continuous thought of Pahalgam tourist massacre happening? When will I get out of this? When I sort of offer every action, mental action, physical action, all the words unto the divine, I get tranquility back. Until now, what have been manufactured in Lalitha's brain was, I can do this, I can fight, I can go, I'll see what happens. I can travel, I have a strong body, I have sound mind, I can strategize, I can be of some help. You see, I can. Hence the shloka sort of hit me, put me back to the box. I used to say, Aurelia, it's just a hammer on the head. Sit down. You're not operating from your self. That's the indication. Why there is no tranquility? My God, you haven't offered your actions. You have started with your ego again. You have started understanding that you have a belongingness to those Indians, to those victims. Huh? This is not right. Start to function from your tranquility, from your space. What do they call Zen space? Functioning from the Zen space, when the thought arises, there would be an opportunity. There would be an opportunity, and I will well avail that opportunity. Otherwise, what will happen? There would be an opportunity, I will freeze. Because all the time I would have been operating from my emotions, operating from my ego, then I'll freeze. What happened? Oh, this major incident happened in your life, and what did you do? How did you respond? I don't know. I couldn't process the sorrow. I froze. This happens. So reroute back, retrace back the steps of the thought that aroused. Where did it arise from? Like Ramana Bhagavad. Who is thinking this? Who is getting angry? Your mind will stop. Because mind does not understand this kind of attention. Mind only knows providing attention by working from the mental input. It is well satisfied only when you act according to its words. But mind starts to stop processing when you pay attention to the source of the mind. Because it does not know, it freezes. Prasadam adhigacchati. He always abides by the self, stays in the tranquility, not just meditating in the laps of Himalayas, in the caves, but acts. Vishayan, Indriyahi, Charan, he acts in this world. He interacts with this world. He interacts with people in the manner which is necessary. Now, once again, I have to clarify. With that, I will conclude. I'll try to conclude. This does not give you guarantee of not doing any action. Okay? This does not give you any guarantee that you should be doing avoidable actions. Okay? So this is the clarification. What happens when you start doing avoidable actions? You become a pervert. Okay? You become a pervert. I'm serious. Because you think that if doing an action which can create a ruckus in other person's mind, not definitely harming me, You become a pervert. That is how a pervert behaves. Yeah. His mind will not get that input that I have harmed someone. But with an ordinary man, if you had even lied to a person, your heart starts to beat faster. So this does not give you a guarantee that you start doing avoidable actions. Number two, this does not give you a guarantee that you stop doing the advisable actions. You have to do the advisable actions. But change the trace. Operate from with space. That is very important. Operate from the tranquility without getting involved into the action, without getting identified by the action, without getting, I repeat again, without getting identified, by the action. When you identify yourself in the action, you start to see, you start to expect, this is how it has to be, this is how it has to be, it is how it has to be. You start to understand, I am acting this, I am doing this, this is how I have to get that back. This is how it has to go. You start to frame. Again, operation from the Manomaya Kosha level. We have to operate from the Anandamaya Kosha. Yes, there is an injustice. Yes, there was a communal difference, which is completely horrific. We have to make a change. We will make a change, but not losing the inner tranquility. I'll sleep tonight. Thank you. Questions?